We brought two Rayofi Go-Tones to Bermuda to film a full vacation review.
We had a big plan. Workouts on the beach, cruise gym B-roll, scenic shots. Think travel vlog meets gym gear review.
Then came the wind, the rain, and a cruise ship that sounded like a blender in a tin can.
So here's how we tried to review the Rayofis on vacation.
So here's how it all should have gone. We'd work out with the Rayofis on the beach, get cinematic gym shots, and compare 1 versus 2 units like fitness filmmakers on vacation.
Instead, we got flash rainstorms, wind that shredded our mic audio, and a cruise gym more packed than a January Planet Fitness.
But hey, we still trained, and we learned a lot about how the Rayofi holds up when your only gym is your stateroom, or the middle of a tropical weather system. All right, let's talk about what actually went down. We brought 2 Rayofi Go-Tones on this cruise. The plan: early morning gym footage, scenic beach workouts, and a full comparison between using just 1 unit versus 2. What we got was a cruise gym that felt like New Year's Day at Planet Fitness, plus Bermuda weather that changed faster than we could unpack our gear. The cruise gym was wall-to-wall packed with people very committed to getting their vacation gains. We had to modify everything, just using whatever wasn't being hovered over. And Bermuda, absolutely beautiful. But the weather flipped constantly. 1 minute it was sunny and 90, the next a surprise downpour soaking everything. That meant we couldn't risk bringing cameras, gimbals, or even the Rayofis off the ship most days. So no cinematic beach curls, just phone videos, some stills, and a lot of flexibility. So yeah, this turned into a voice-over blend of our cruise experience, a Rayofi update, and some real-world cases for the dual unit setup. To be totally clear, Rayofi did provide us with a second unit, but we personally purchased the dual footplate and sectional bar. This isn't a sales pitch, it's just our honest take as always, but if you are buying, Paired&PoweredUp saves you 10% at checkout and does provide us with a small commission that we can use to purchase more items to review for everyone, like the bench that I'm sitting on. And if you haven't seen our first video, just using 1 Rayofi, I'd highly recommend checking that out after this. It's a great breakdown of what this digital resistance system can and can't do. We've also got some exciting content coming your way. Glucks Gym came out to do a full walkthrough of our living room gym setup and should be released soon. Plus, we were honored to be featured as the Massenomics Training Facility of the Week just after Home Gym Con by Big Tanner and Big Tommy. These are 2 channels you need to follow if you're into home gyms and lifting culture. I'll drop their links in the comments. This trip wasn't just a Rayofi test run. It was a full family cruise. Perrin and I brought our 2 adult children, and each of them brought a friend. So yeah, 6 of us over 3 cabins, strength in numbers. We've cruised once before with Carnival on a 7-day 3-port trip out of New York. We actually loved Carnival, but hated the rush of only having 8 hours in each port. So this time we switched it up. Sailed out of Boston on Norwegian for a shorter drive and got 3 full days docked in Bermuda. Way less travel stress. But first impressions of the Norwegian Jewel weren't exactly 5-star. For starters, Norwegian completely disabled the messaging feature in their app, which meant no easy way to stay in touch with the rest of your group without having to buy a Wi-Fi package at $209 per person. The ship itself is over 20 years old and it shows. From the dated decor to the limited entertainment options, it just didn't have the energy or variety we got from Carnival. We still made the most of it, hit the live shows, and all ate dinner together each night, but overall, we probably wouldn't book with Norwegian again. That said, the gym, surprisingly solid, better than what we used on the Carnival. More equipment, decent layout, just way too busy, like packed open to close busy. People were certainly motivated to play on their phones. Sitting on the equipment, I'll give them that these people were probably not used to going to commercial gyms regularly and don't understand gym etiquette, especially the laid-back vacation vibe. It forced us to get creative with workouts, and that's where the Rayofis came in handy. Now let's talk about the Rayofi app, because since our first review, there's actually been some noticeable improvement. It's still called the TT Bot. I'd love to see Rayofi change the name to something more unit or fitness specific. We still don't use it to track our workouts. It's not quite there yet for that. But the ability to pair 2 Go-Tones and adjust the weight on both units at the same time has been a huge upgrade. It makes setup way faster and just feels like how much more expensive systems work. But the real hidden gem is a new feature that lets you set the starting cable length right from the app. That might sound minor, but it's actually a pretty nifty safety feature. It's something that the $2,200 Beyond Power Vultra uses too. See, normally, when you'd set the weight, the resistance kicks in right at the unit, which means if you're doing something like a chest press or a shoulder press, you're immediately under tension before you're even into position. With the cable length feature, you can get into position without any load. Then hit set cable length. It's brilliant, safer, smoother, more thoughtful training. The downside? It only works in single unit mode right now. We talked to Johnny over at Rayofi, and he confirmed that the feature isn't programmed for dual unit pairing yet, but we pushed hard for them to work on it, and we think there's a good chance it'll be added in the future. If you want to use it now with 2 units, the best workaround is clunky, but it's doable. If there's 2 of you, each with a smartphone, or you have access to 2, you pair the units individually, set the cable length individually, and go from there. Yes, you'll lose synced resistance control, but honestly, we still think setting the cable length is worth the hassle, especially for pressing or rehab work where positioning really matters. Okay, so I want to take a second and show you how to set your cable length on this, which I think is probably the best function in the app right now. I'm screen recording. First time doing this, so I'm hoping it's going to work, which I can add in to the video edit when we get there. But I'm going to bring up the TTBot app. I'm going to turn on the Rayofi Go-Tone. It automatically pairs. I'm going to leave it at the lowest setting for the weight right now, just to make it easier to show you how to do this. So right now I'm going to go into device details, set this on the ground because it's going to be easier for me to show. Now under the device detail screen, you go down to where it says your device name, which you can change. I put Go-Tone 1 in. There's a initial rope length. You click that. You're going to bring this out under tension. So I start off at a low weight to where you want. You have an origin and a current. So you click current, hit OK. It's going to say setting failure for some reason. But as you can see, the rope length has now stopped at this. If I pull further, it's under tension. But when you release it, it stops here. So if you're going to do any type of pressing overhead, instead of being at a heavy weight down here and having to muscle this thing up to get it to where you want it, you would literally just set it probably here. And then you're just going to be pressing, well, I'm at the cable length, but you get the idea if you're up higher. But for a foot-based or like arm curls, you could set it wherever you needed it at the lowest setting, and that's where your weight's going to start. Now to bring it back, you go to origin and just hit OK. And it slowly retracts itself back into the unit. But probably the #1 biggest change to the app is setting this rope length. We did talk to Johnny. He's supposed to be going to the factory next week, and he's going to talk to the engineers to have it set up so you can do this in dual mode. Right now, you can only do it with 1 at a time. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is when you get 2 units, they each will come with a single foot plate, so you do not have to purchase the additional foot plate and the bar. It's cheap enough. I'd suggest doing it, just makes everything easier. But if you were just doing it 2 units with these, you would just put the Go-Tone on it like you normally would. You put it down, you'd set where you want, and you'd step on each side, which can be a little unstable depending on how your feet are. So the real way to do it is to purchase the dual foot plate. Where you will put the Go-Tone on just like you would on the single foot plate. So it will look like this. And then you will stand on it like this, hook your cable up, and do your workouts like that. It comes with this bar, which this is the centerpiece. It's 3 sections. They're not quick screws, so they do take a little bit of turning to get each one in. I'd like to maybe see a new reiteration of this where they put a little bit less threading on it, but maybe some thicker threading so it doesn't need to be screwed in as far. But we did use this on our cruise, and it's a solid enough bar. We never had any worries that it was going to break or anything. The best thing you can do, easiest thing, is to add a carabiner to this. I know the Go-Tone comes with its own proprietary, of course I don't have this on, with its own proprietary clip, but it's small and it's hard to get kind of on and off easily. You can set the length of how much cable you have, which does help with range of motion. So like if you're going to do deadlifts, you would want these pull, which is what we had to set up for. You want it set up as low as you can get so you can get your full range of motion when you're doing these types of moves. Arm curls, you could kind of let it out a little bit. So you're starting more like this to do your curls. But for the cost, I would buy this plate. We did have one issue with it. So it's not perfect. We found that it's a little bit too thin. If it was wider, maybe an inch further on each side, it wouldn't matter as much where you're putting your feet on it. But the way it's set up now, you have to be a little bit careful with your foot placement just so you don't kind of get one end where it feels like it's tilting up. But other than that, I'd say probably an A or a B tier accessory to add to your Rayofis if you're buying two of them. It's that much better than using two single plates on it.
So here's a quick run through of our 3 days in Bermuda. Day 1, we took the bus around the island on a 5-hour tour. Think Gilligan's Island. Stopped at the PGA golf course, took in the views, and yes, the kids had their first dark and stormies and rum swizzles. In Bermuda, they are of age, barely, but they're of age. Day 2, we ferried to Hamilton to shop and explore, then ferried back to catch a bus to Horseshoe Bay. The rain actually started on the ride down to Horseshoe Bay, a full-blown tropical downpour. Most people cleared out, but a few minutes later, the skies cleared and we ended up in one of Bermuda's most famous beaches, basically all to ourselves with the pink sands and the gorgeous water. And this wasn't just a vacation. I had shoulder debridement surgery scheduled for the Monday after we get back. So every beach, every ferry ride, every rum swizzle, it was the final lap before the need for surgery and recovery kicked in. So day 3 was our snorkeling trip. We stayed inside the reef due to the weather, so no sea turtles or reef dives, but we snorkeled near the wreck of the HMS Vixen and spotted the dilapidated remains of Bermuda's failed eco-village project. And yes, the free rum swizzles on the boat helped ease the sting of the weather-shortened adventure that we had to pivot and make. So now that I'm back home and recovering from shoulder surgery, I'll be easing back into movement using the FarmerBoy Fitness Bubble Bench and Bar, the Temple of Gainz Multi-Flight, and the Rayofi Go-Tones for controlled light resistance work. Back on the ship, when the cruise gym was packed and the weather wouldn't cooperate, we made the stateroom our gym. With the dual Go-Tones, travel bar, and foot plate, we got in rows, presses, curls, triceps, even some RDLs, all in about 6 feet of floor space and our small balcony. It wasn't perfect, but it was effective, and for the travel setup, that's the win. This trip gave us a real-world test of how far portable digital resistance can actually go. And while it wasn't always smooth, it was real. Vacation is supposed to be fun, and even with the weather and crowds, we enjoyed our time and focused on our family. The Rayofi certainly helped with that.
If you haven't seen our original Rayofi review with just one unit, check it out next. We'll link it here and below.
And subscribe. We've got the Glucks tour of our living room gym coming soon, a feature from Massenomics, and plenty of rehab-focused content as I recover.
We'll drop the links to Glucks and Massenomics down in the comments. Go follow them. You won't regret it.
Thanks for watching. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some external rotation exercises to go do.